Eagles fan. Monday night's game against the Chargers was painful for many reasons, because of Jalen Hurts' turnovers, because of the tired defense, because of the overtime loss. But there was a moment during the national Monday Night Football broadcast that made every heart in Philadelphia beat faster and then ache with longing. It was a comment, a suggestion thrown into the air that echoed the secret desire of millions of us. While the team struggled on the field, the ESPN broadcast booth commanded by Joe Buck and legend Troy Aikman floated an idea that seems crazy, seems like desperation, but deep down makes all the sense in the world. They didn't talk about tactics or changing coaches. They talked about a name that is retired, a name that wears a suit on television today. They talked about Jason Kelce, and what Troy Aikman said about the behind-the-scenes of this possibility will leave you wondering. Let's get to the facts. The game was tense, the Eagles' offensive line was patched up, and Joe Buck, the announcer, dropped the line. Maybe the Eagles with these banged-up interior offensive linemen can call on our friend, old 38-year-old Jason Kelce. Up to that point, it sounded like an announcer's joke, but it was Troy Aikman's response, a Hall of Famer who understands how franchises work, that turned the joke into a headline. Aikman replied with a serious tone, "I would be surprised if they haven't already. I think I'd be knocking on his door every week to try to get him to come back. He can still do it." Fans stop and think. Aikman said he would be surprised if Howie Roseman had not already called. This exposes the level of desperation the league sees in our protection. Why would two respected analysts suggest pulling a man out of retirement in the middle of December? Because our reality in the trenches is tragic. The Eagles' offensive line, which for years was the NFL gold standard, the best unit in the league, is today a field hospital. The article brings alarming data. Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, Tyler Steen, and Lane Johnson, the 5 projected starters, played every offensive snap together in only one game this season. One game. The lack of continuity is brutal. The chemistry, which is the soul of the offensive line, is non-existent in 2025. The hardest blow, without a doubt, was the loss of Lane Johnson. The best right tackle in the world is on injured reserve with a Lisfranc injury in his foot. He is out for 4 to 6 weeks. Without Lane, the structure crumbles. Fred Johnson stepped in and has been serviceable, but he is not Lane. This forces the offense to keep tight ends and running backs in to help block, which takes passing options away from Jalen Hurts. Furthermore, Cam Jurgens, the heir to the center position, has suffered from concussions and minor injury in and out of game. Landon Dickerson, our left guard, also can't stay healthy. It is a domino effect. One piece falls and brings down the efficiency of all the others. And what is the practical result of this? Numbers don't lie. The text highlights a stat that explains why our offense is stagnant. The Eagles' ground game has dropped about to 70 yards per game compared to the 2024 season. 70 yards. That is the difference between a dominant offense that controls the clock and an offense that forces the quarterback to throw 40 times a game and commit 5 turnovers, as we saw. Saquon Barkley is a monster. He had that 52-yard touchdown, but he is having to manufacture miracles because the holes in the line are not opening up like before. Tyler Steen at right guard doesn't have the brute strength that Mekhi Becton or Isaac Sumalo have. The tush-push is no longer automatic. The team's physical identity has been lost. We need to have an honest conversation about Cam Jurgens. Is he a good player? Yes. Does he have potential? Yes. But replacing Jason Kelce isn't just about blocking the guy in front of you. Kelce was the brain of the operation. He identified blitzes, he adjusted protections, he yelled at Jalen Hurts before the snap. Without Kelce, Jalen Hurts seems lost in pre-snap reads. Many of those interceptions and sacks we saw against the Chargers happen because the protection wasn't adjusted correctly. Jurgens is still learning to see the game like a veteran, but in December in the NFL, the learning curve can cost the season. The suggestion to bring Kelce back isn't because Jurgens is bad, but because Kelce was transcendental. Beyond the blocks, what Troy Aikman really meant is that leadership is missing. Jason Kelce was the beating heart of Philadelphia. His speech at the Super Bowl parade, his presence in the community, his voice in the locker room. When the team lost 3 straight games in the past, Kelce was the one who slammed the table and demanded accountability. Today, who does that? Jalen Hurts is stoic and silent. Sirianni is trying to save his own job. That father figure in the middle of the offensive line is missing to calm things down when things go wrong. Kelce's return would be above all an injection of morale and winning culture into a team that seems to have forgotten how to win. Now let's put our feet on the ground. As much as Aikman says he would bang on his door, the reality is that Jason Kelce has changed his life. He lost weight. He is much skinnier as we see on TV. He has million-dollar contracts with ESPN and the New Heights podcast, alongside his brother Travis. He is enjoying his family drinking beer at tailgate and being happy without body pain. Coming back now without game rhythm to enter a late-season meat grinder would be risky for his legacy and his health. It is highly unlikely. But the fact that we are discussing this, the fact that the national broadcast raised this ball, is a testament to the bankruptcy of our current plan. The most painful point of Aikman's comment is the phrase, "He can still do it." Aikman, who analyzes tape every week, sees that Kelce retired still playing at an all-pro level. He didn't stop because his body failed completely. He stopped because he got tired of the grind. This feeds our fantasy. If he wanted to, he would be better today than any option we have on the roster. This generates frustration in the fan, knowing that the solution exists is alive lives in the city, but is unreachable. Returning to our quarterback, Jalen Hurts had the worst rating of his career since 2023. He seems flummoxed. Do you think it is a coincidence that Hurts' worst year is the first year without Kelce? The center is the QB's best friend. The security Hurts had knowing the middle of the pocket would be clean has disappeared. Now he looks at the defense and has doubts. He looks at the center and sees a kid learning. This generates hesitation, and hesitation in the NFL turns into interception. Bringing Kelce back would be the best therapy possible for Jalen Hurts' head. What is left to do? The internal solution, since Kelce probably won't answer the phone, or will laugh and hang up what is left for offensive line coach Jeff Stoutland. They need to find minimal stability with what they have. Fred Johnson needs to elevate his level. Tyler Steen needs to be more physical. And Jordan Mailata, who is having a rough season according to the article, needs to justify the giant contract he received. The offensive line played solid in the last game in terms of pass protection, clean most of the time. But the mental errors and the lack of a consistent run game are killing the team. In the end, Buck and Aikman's suggestion serves as a mirror. It reflects the current state of the Philadelphia Eagles, a talented but broken-wounded and leaderless team looking desperately to the past for salvation. When you start dreaming of retirees coming back, it is because the present is scary. We are a few games away from the playoffs and the foundation of the team. The offensive line is cracked. The Monday Night Football bombshell wasn't a real signing, but it was a precise diagnosis. Troy Aikman believes the Eagles should be begging for Jason Kelce's return. The offensive line is decimated by injuries to Lane Johnson, Jurgens, and Dickerson. The running game has vanished, minus 70 yards, and leadership is missing. Kelce isn't coming back, but his shadow's getting bigger and bigger over this roster that can't protect its quarterback or open lanes for its running back. Fan, let's play what if. If by a Christmas miracle, Jason Kelce's announced today that he is coming back to play the last 4 games and the playoffs, do you think this would instantly transform the team into a Super Bowl favorite? Or are Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni's problems too big even for Kelce to solve? And more, do you think Howie Roseman actually called him as Aikman suggested? Comment down below. I know it is dreaming big, but dreaming is free. Leave a like if you also miss number 62, and subscribe to the channel. Here we analyze reality, but we also embrace nostalgia. Fly Eagles, fly.